Well, welcome to the Strange Saloon, episode 1. I'm your host, M-Balm. My co-host here, his name is...
Zero.
Zero. Yeah, Zero. Not Zero. Like
Zero.
churro.
No, we're not doing the churros. Zero.
No. So, we are starting this brand new spin-off as the Strange Saloon. It's actually started as a segment on the M-Balm effect, which is hilarious. It started off on one of our Halloween specials. We didn't have a bar, though.
No.
No. We were
No bars.
We were held captive in a basement with AR-15s and all that good stuff.
Oh, yes, I remember the basement.
Yeah, the basement days. But
Yeah.
no, we're here in a legit saloon now. It's the Strange Saloon. Eventually, we'll have a third camera angle where you can actually see the full saloon,
Yeah?
which I think will look cool. But right now, we're 2 camera angles in, so it's good enough. And I think yours is probably the best camera angle, if you ask me. Look at that. That's dope. You have that nice graphic in the background with the projector. It's amazing. And you got Joyce back there, too. She's kind of hiding behind that Pepsi.
We're old friends, you know?
Yeah. She's definitely on to something, you know? We are starting this podcast to talk about the strange, the weird, the bizarre, the paranormal, and all of the oddities and even the conspiracy theories of what we like to dive into, you know? And it
Thing off the beaten path.
Yeah, it wouldn't be right without it. I gotta make it right because we're in a saloon and it's strange and we're gonna get a little strange. So I'm gonna pour me some whiskey, responsibly, of course. You know, because that's what we do. Just a little bit, nothing crazy, just to wet the whistle before we talk about, you know, what this podcast is gonna be about. And we might even dive into some of our experiences with the strange and the bizarre. I think it's only fair, right?
Yeah, might as well kick it out strong, right?
Yeah, so without further ado, Skull, I hope everyone enjoys the broadcast, the podcast. Here you
Here's
go.
to number 1.
Cheers to number 1. So, I mean, let's dive into how we got into our interest of all that, all this, because I know I mentioned it on the other show, but I'm going to mention it on here because not everyone's going to probably... It might be certain people listen to this show only and that show only and whatever, but... So, let's dial it back to 1995, 1994, maybe even 96. As a kid, my parents and I, we lived in the town of Ontario in a ranch. And the ranch was built in, I think, 86. So, the house was newer. And... I'll never forget it. I was washing my hands in the bathroom, and I looked in the mirror, and there was this headless guy walking back and forth, only in the mirror, not next to me or anything like that. It was only wild. In the mirror, and he had a tethered light blue windbreaker jacket on.
Interesting.
It was a weird concept to even think of as a kid.
Right. I mean, this is also, you said the mid-90s, right?
Yeah. So I was 5, 6 years old, if that.
Right.
Or even 4 at that point. But regardless, I saw this thing, and I'll never forget it. I turned off the sink. I ran to the kitchen to get my mom. We come back, and this guy's gone.
Right. Of course.
So... As a kid, that's terrifying.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. I'm sure this probably obviously stuck with you this whole time.
Yeah. And it got me thinking. And that wasn't my only time. There was one time I was sitting in what we would call the blue room in what now is my parents' house, it was my grandparents' house at the time. And I was sitting at the desk and I looked to the left. There's this big mirror and nobody else was upstairs at the time. And I was a kid who played Mortal Kombat and all that stuff. So Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate was out.
Oh, okay.
And you know how Noob Saibot looked like in those old Sprite 2D games?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I remember.
I saw what would look like him. It was a shadow figure running from the bathroom into, at the time, my sister's room.
Okay.
Which ended up being my room later on in life. And all these incidents that I experienced as a kid stayed with me into adulthood.
Right.
Which was what got me into the paranormal, which got me into all this weird, bizarre, like unexplainable stuff in life. Over a decade worth of experience of paranormal investigations. I mean, we were investigating back in 2008, 2009. And there's been quite a bit of times where we've gotten like, not so much EVPs, but more so like interaction with other scientific equipment. The K2 meter,
Right.
Getting pickup on the EMF and all that with that. We've dived into even the SB7, the spirit box.
Interesting. Okay.
Where you can go through radio frequencies and hear
Right.
voices that way.
Right. I've seen that on a couple of TV shows, I believe.
Yes. Obviously all the heavy hitters out there like Ghost Adventures and all of them,
Right.
they've used all this equipment on Travel Channel and all that. And just so like you look at that stuff, and as somebody looking from the outside in, you're like, okay, how much of this is real?
Right, because you can never really tell what's what, especially on television.
Yeah.
So,
But if you do it in person, it's a whole different ballgame. As of the last few years, I have actually dabbled into the Estes method. Do you know what the Estes method is?
No, actually.
So what you do is somebody sits in a chair with the blindfold on and with like headphones like this, and you hook it up to the SB7 spirit box. And so there's nothing. You don't see anything. And all you're hearing is like the frequencies.
So it's almost like a deprivation type of deal. Okay.
It is most definitely a sensory deprivation. I've only done it maybe 3 times now in my life.
Interesting.
And
I feel like that would give me anxiety.
it's a dude. I'll explain it because
Yes, please.
I'd
I'd love to hear.
So basically the first time I did this was at the Lima Hotel. We actually filmed at this location, and it's on a YouTube channel called Void Sessions, which I had a whole different idea for that, and that was the pilot to that. Never continued anything on. I wish I did, but I think we will change that doing this going forward. I think we can do a lot of good things here.
Right.
So I definitely think that, with that, it'll be cool because we'll have other paranormal investigators come in. We can always discuss things and even go on investigations and do more episodes like this. But even outside of the saloon, even go further than that and even go possibly into the locations that we investigate.
That would be cool.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
But going back to that moment where I did the first Estes method of my life, I forget what room number it was, but it was a room that was notably, I guess you could say, the oppressive feeling you would get. And at the time, so an old buddy of mine who came on this investigation, he did it first. And we would ask questions. So what you do is like you're the one that's in the chair with the blindfold and the headphones on.
Right, and then the other people, I'm assuming, are asking the questions.
Correct. So you can't hear what's going on. All you're hearing is until you hear voices.
Right, until supposed responses.
Right. And whatever you hear, you actually speak out.
Okay. Interesting.
And what that does is what ends up happening is when you're asking questions, typically you're supposed to get responses back that coincide with the questions asked. And that's what was going on.
Interesting.
And so there was a few times where I felt like I was vibrating in the chair. And I wasn't sure how to take that. Like, is it my mental state? Am I physically really vibrating? But it is a weird, it's a situation where you can only describe it if you know like what's going on in terms of feeling that.
Right.
Like if you're the one doing it, you'll understand it more. But it was
like that's one of those things you kind of experience. It sounds like.
Yeah, dude. It is kind of it's definitely an experience I would suggest trying at least, because if you're somebody who's not a believer, if you're skeptical, now I'm skeptic by nature. It doesn't matter what it is.
I question everything.
100%.
Believe nothing.
Well, that's just it. You should go in with an open mind,
right?
But at least be a little bit. I think it's good to be a little bit skeptical at least. Me personally, my favorite thing is when somebody goes into a location like that, into an investigation, who's completely skeptical, and then they start experiencing something.
Right, because then it's like now you're opening doors or windows or however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Into a potential whole new world.
Yeah. I may just use that actual episode of Void Sessions and put it on the channel and kind of have it there so that way people can see.
Right.
I think it's important to see that stuff because looking into it as, okay, these are real people doing real investigations. I'm not saying that other people are not real doing this stuff. I don't know. I'm not
Right.
there on their team doing the stuff that they're doing.
Right.
But I can 100% tell you that the stuff that we caught and interacted with in that location and other locations, 110% genuine, 100% legitimate. Like,
Right.
that's what we experienced at the time.
Right. And like, you don't need to have that fact checked. You know for sure.
Right. We were there. We
Right. You
experienced
experienced it yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I just, all these things added up for me, and I've always been interested in all this stuff, even like just strange things beyond that. But, you know, that's where I got into the paranormal and the bizarre on my end. So, I mean, how about you? I mean, what got you into this?
Oh gosh. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it was. Growing up, I've always been, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like I vibrate off of other people's energies and frequencies, and I've always, it's a really weird thing to try to explain, and that's kind of like what this whole, like all of this is, right? Like there's really no explanations to any of this, but like I pick up on how people feel. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like when I interact with people, it's not like I don't just base it on how we talk. I like, if we don't mesh because I don't like the way you feel next to me, I'm not going to be there, you know? So that's kind of how it started. And then being around a couple of people at a young age who were very like susceptible to the paranormal world, or not, maybe not susceptible. Like they were, like they would see things. And maybe even I didn't see then, or maybe I wasn't around for it. But like I heard a lot of stories and a lot of things, and then I think the first real experience that I think I had was, God, we had to have been in like 10th grade, maybe. I was hanging out in the woods behind one of the housing tracks in our neighborhood, and we were just walking through the trail, and I got ahead of my friend, and I saw these people run by me. It was like, they were like joggers. It was really weird because like it was like summertime, but these people were dressed in like how we're dressed now, in like hoodies and like warm clothes. I'm like, what the hell? And it was probably like 4 or 5 people, but they were like running. I'm like, what the fuck? And I turned around, and like he finally caught up to me. I'm like, did you see those people? And he's like, what? And I'm like, dude, there was like 4 or 5 people just ran by me. He's like, I didn't see or hear anybody, basically. And I was like, okay, that was really fucking weird. So that was kind of like the first like thing, because like, I mean, I know I didn't imagine it, you know what I mean? Like there's no way that my brain, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right. So that was the first thing where I was like, all right, maybe there is something out there. And then, you know, I've had a handful of other experiences along the way, but another really weird one that I had was more recently. A former bandmate of mine, we were sitting out on my front porch, and I swear on everything I love, his mom was with us. I just knew it, and like I don't know how or why, but like I felt like my hand like lifting, like pointing towards her basically, and I wasn't doing it. And it sounds crazy to say out loud, but like, I mean, I was like tearing up. I got like super hot, then super cold, and like literally just tears coming out of my face. And it was just like, and he's like, "What is happening?" I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I don't know. I've had my run-ins. You know, I've never done any like you know, any like experiences anywhere else, you know, like intentionally.
Right.
But I've had my occasional run-ins, you know, and I've always, you know, been curious by nature, you know, and I'm always one of those people, you know, like maybe not necessarily paranormal, but like I've always been a big one into like our history, right? Like where do we come from?
Yeah.
Like what our true history is, you know, and that's kind of hand in hand, right? Because that's not just paranormal. That's like interstellar. That's like
Right.
aliens. That's like what happened before our written history. You know what I mean? Because this planet's existed for billions of years, and we're barely scratching the surface of the surface. You know, like we're a microcosm.
We don't even know the depths of our own oceans.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and we don't even know how to get there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the craziest part. Like, do we even want to know? And then okay, so because we're already here, then you're talking about what about the whole like space to ocean theory?
Yeah.
That like the ocean is this like the conduit to space, and that's why we can't get to the bottom because we don't have the technology to get there.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a whole the whole world about the ocean that like nobody really has an answer to.
It's true.
You know.
I mean, all these questions that we have, like how did we get on this earth as human species? All these questions that we ask ourselves daily. You know, what's the purpose of life? Why are we
Right.
here? There's a lot of things I don't think are going to ever be explained in our lifetime.
Is there one?
Is
You
there
know?
one? That's
is
a
there
good
one
question.
is there one beyond be a good person?
Right.
You know, that's my biggest question day to day. Like,
Yeah.
what's the purpose? You know, in that sense of like how can we be better? How can we do better? Right. But like at the end of the day, why are we here? Right.
Right. And it begs the question, like, how did, you know, obviously with the Bible, there's the book of Genesis and Adam and Eve. And as somebody who's read/listened to the audiobook version of the Bible in its entirety, cover to cover, you know, obviously there's some historical and geographical truths with the Bible. But, you know, I would say the first book, the first testament, I guess, and all that stuff, like there's a lot of things that makes you question, like how did somebody come up? Either did it happen, right? And a lot of things that are debatable. I think we can understand that, and we
Right.
can always debate religion in its entirety.
And that's not why we're here, though.
Right, exactly. We're here to explain, you know, what we know and what
Right.
like hypotheticals even and theories
Right.
and all the above. But for me, you know, I don't know if that's consistent with reality. I think, like, just because let's be honest, there's burning bushes that talk. There's donkeys that talk. We know there's, you know, drugs in this world that can make you believe that this is happening.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
know, and could it very well be that there's people out there back in the day that were going through maybe some drugs like that? Maybe they had chemicals in them that made them believe that they were seeing what they were seeing and listening to. Maybe.
Especially back in like the ancient times when like
I know.
regulation was not a
No.
word.
No.
You know, it was
Yeah.
just like throw this shit in my face. Let's see what happens. Fuck it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of theories out there, man. But, like, you know, there's other theories that we came from space. You know, we came from a different planet.
Right.
We started off small. Obviously, you know, the evolution theory is another theory that we started off as.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, though, like, that's why we're here, to discuss these things, to dig into it, to seek it out.
Right.
You know, we're also here to dive into things that happened in our lifetime and maybe some of us not in our lifetime, like 9/11, for instance. People like to talk about what really happened behind that.
Right.
You know, was the government aware?
Right. The whole false flag.
Yeah. You know, and that's what this podcast is really going to be about. The Strange Saloon is going to dive into all of these different topics because we're interested in them, and I think it's good to talk about it because it opens the door. It opens the door to conversation of, is this real? Did it happen?
Right.
What's your thoughts on it? You know, and the one thing I will say is I want, and I always do this with the other show, I want engagement with the viewers and listeners because I think it's important to involve them as much as it is to involve each other.
Absolutely.
You know, and my thing is, you know, send us your experiences, send us your even if you have EVPs, you have photos, you have video, if you
Yeah.
can send it our way and we can
That'd be
discuss
dope.
it, that'd be awesome. I want to see other people's experiences with
You know, it'd be
paranormal.
cool. We should, if we can, we should figure out how to do like video calls with people on the show.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think we could do it. I have an idea of how to do it.
Okay.
It's almost kind of like the way we would do it on a live remote show.
Okay.
I think we can definitely make it work.
Sweet. That'd be really cool because if we could get people to like send us stuff,
Yes.
and then we can actually discuss
Talk to
with
them.
them. Yeah, that'd be really cool. We could
Yeah.
even do it in real time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not really because this is going to be recorded and then edited. But but it's still, either way, yes, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like if we were doing a live show, but at this point we're not.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, I don't know if we'll ever do a live. We might do. I would say if we were to ever do live shows with this specific podcast, it would be like special events.
Right, we'd have to like make a point of it to do
Yes.
something like that where we would have like a guest or something like that. I agree.
So, I mean,
Or at that point, we could just see if we could get them to come in if it's somebody local too.
yeah, 100%. You know, and that's the thing. Like, if you're into the paranormal field, actually, funny enough, Zero, actually, it happened tonight. On the show, as I was doing, I was doing the M-Balm Effect podcast live episode, and in real time, I had received an email from somebody in regards to a paranormal topic, if you will. Actually, I have the email right here, and I would like is somebody named Beth, and I want to read this on here. I think this is a very important thing to read. So this is the subject was paranormal content from this lady named Beth. The message says, "Good evening. I was on a podcast with Becky, and the paranormal became a topic of conversation. I am a psychic medium and co-founder of Paranormal Investigation Team. Our team is a national entity. We would welcome the opportunity to be present for future podcasts regarding the paranormal. Please feel free to call to discuss in more detail. Thanks." And there's a phone number here too. And I did say this on the other show. I will reach out to you. I would love to get her in with us.
That'd be cool.
I think it'd be awesome. I think
yeah.
it'd be. I think it would make the most sense, especially it's so it's crazy because I had posted something on the M-Balm Effect Facebook page, and got a lot of good feedback in regards to us doing this spinoff. I thought it was amazing.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
And it's just, this is perfect timing for this because I think with this, it makes the most sense because that's what we're talking about on this show.
Right.
You know?
And this has been, something that we've been talking about doing forever. So
We actually, we started talking about this before we even moved here,
yeah.
honestly. You know? So, and I'm glad it all made sense that we did this because now we actually have a setting that matches
Right.
everything that we were talking about.
Yep. And it fits perfect. I'm stoked. I'm really excited for this because I mean, there's really no limits to this. I mean, we can talk about whatever. I mean, as long as because like I said, question everything and believe nothing.
I find a lot of things online, and I don't want to say I'm too, I guess, involved with it because I'm not. But I do scour Reddit quite a bit here and there, and there's a lot of oddities on there that I'd like to talk about.
Sure.
And there's quite a bit of things on there that I read, and I think that people are having real experiences, or at least they believe they are. And I think it's good to talk about those too, because honestly, and other people might not understand it, but there's a lot of things that people think that they're shaping their destiny by just like putting it out there in the universe, which I think is kind of a crazy, idea, or maybe in theory. But
Are you talking more about like the idea of manifesting?
yes.
Okay.
And I see a lot of these subreddits that say that they're doing these type of manifestings or manifests, and that it's coming true. And I'm wondering if that's even is it possible that that's real, or is it just something that maybe they believe is happening, but it's really not? I don't know.
Well, it depends. I feel like in my personal experience, because obviously they talk about manifesting comes in different forms, because you can emotionally manifest, and what that means basically is saying, you focus on the positives, and you manifest a good day. Say wake up in a good, it doesn't matter if you wake up in a good mood, you're gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
That's manifesting that. And in that sense, if you focus on that stuff and then the good stuff does happen, of course you're gonna focus on that because you're already thinking that way. And that's kind of the whole idea, right? Is to kind of block the bad thoughts out, because there are a lot of bad thoughts.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in the world that are not so great right now. And so I guess in that sense, yes. But to go further than that and to say that is what is causing it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's an interesting theory.
It is.
To be honest with you. I've thought about it, and I'm like, perhaps though. I mean, there's a lot of other unexplainable things that happen in this world that we live in.
Right. When we talk about miracles and all types of stuff.
I mean,
just don't ask ICP. Yeah. They don't understand magnets.
No. What's with the magnets?
Do you not know?
Maybe not.
There's a song that they have. They say magnets. How do they work? And it's something about like scientists. You lie. I can't remember what it is. I think the song is called Miracles. I'm
Are they
almost
being
positive.
facetious or are they being
I'm
for
pretty
real?
sure they're being serious.
So this is a genuine.
Yes, it's an
Okay.
older song.
Okay.
God, this is like back with like around the time it's about like 2015.
Okay.
Ish. I can't remember.
So about 11 years
I'm
ago.
probably gonna get so much heat for that, but it's so funny. I think it's so bad. It's so bad.
That's pretty wild, man. I'm not gonna lie.
It's so bad. I'll have to show you later.
Yeah, I guess maybe I didn't really pay too much attention to that, but
No.
you know, yeah, there's just so many things that I've looked into in terms of you know, the strange and the bizarre. Somebody had sent in an EVP, and I don't know if I can get it on the microphone. I don't have it on the computer right now. But they did send in an EVP. Her name's Brittany, and she sent this in. Did you hear it?
I'm not sure what I heard. I heard it, but I'm not sure what exactly. There's a lot going on there.
So the background of this story is they're actually in a cemetery watching fireworks.
Okay.
The EVP is literally the first thing that you hear when the
Right.
recording's happening.
Okay.
What do you think you hear?
I don't know. Oh, it sounds like it says glory almost. It sounds like a guy.
So I do get that it's a male voice. I had my wife listen to this. She says she thought that the voice was saying walking.
It's hard to tell.
I thought it was saying woo wee, but then I was like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would they say that? Brittany actually put on there that she believes that the voice is saying watch. I honestly think that that's not far from what I'm hearing now is watch. Almost like, so in my perspective of this, almost like there's an older spirit and they're basically saying, hey, get off your phone and watch. You know,
Right.
like an older person would tell a kid, hey, just get off your phone and enjoy the moment.
Right, that's really weird.
So I don't know. I've listened to a lot of EVPs. I never actually myself caught one. I was with somebody who did, so I can't claim that I caught it, but I was there for it.
Right.
And it was at Rolling Hills Asylum when it happened.
Oh, okay.
They were using a specific audio recorder to get it, and it was astounding how in real time, like 30 seconds you record and they play it back and you get it. I'd never been that lucky with that.
Interesting.
So maybe I'm just not, I don't know, maybe I'm just not trying hard enough with audio recorders. I focus more on the other stuff, but maybe that's what I'll change in my future investigations. But, you know, yeah, I could, when she said that, I listened to it over and over and over again. I definitely could hear watch
Right.
like, going into it. I think it would make the most sense to be that's what's being said. But yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
It can be, and there's times where that does actually happen, where you hear something and you're not sure what it says.
Right, you can almost convince yourself that it's saying a certain thing based on, somebody can say it sounds like this, and you can hear it that way, and then you can hear it, what I mean? It's tough.
Yeah, sometimes it's like it's inaudible. You can't really hear what's going on, but you know there's a voice there.
Well, it was definitely something there.
Yes, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, thank you for sending that, Brittany.
Yes,
if
thank
we
you.
can get more people to send more stuff like that, and we can dive into what we think it is, that'd be cool.
Hell yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, I like that.
That's
but
cool.
I mean, so aside from that, though, actually investigating, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I want to do another investigation. It's been, it's been a little over a year now. The last investigation I went on, actually, we did record some stuff, but I didn't end up getting to it. I really didn't think that we had enough substantial evidence to really want to.
Wasn't worth it.
So it was an interesting night. I'm not going to say that we didn't catch anything, but I just don't think it was enough for me to warrant to go through and edit. And there was a lot of things that did happen, though, that was good in that night. It was the Palmyra Historical Museum.
Okay. I've heard about that.
It's on Market Street.
Yep.
And it's next to another location. It's 2 buildings that we investigate.
Isn't that the one with the kids?
Correct. The museum.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't mind going back there to do an official episode.
That'd be cool.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite places to investigate because there's so much to it. You got to understand that building was not the original building. There's actually pieces of other places that are in that museum.
Right.
And that's what makes it more interesting too.
Didn't it burn down at one point?
So there was a house there in that specific location where there was a family that lived there.
Yep.
And the mother and 6 children had perished in a fire.
Okay.
The husband has always been deemed as the suspect.
Right.
He actually lived, I think, until about 2010. I don't know. I don't quote me on that because I don't think it's 100% true. But he did live to be an older age. He lived his full life.
Interesting.
No charges were ever made against him. Any of that stuff.
Basically.
Correct. My first time actually going there was in 2011, and the basement wasn't open to us at that point. So we just investigated the rest of the museum. We went to the Phelps General Store where it's a whole different story in that building. That's another interesting building, to say the least. But in this specific general location, though, the museum, if you investigate there and you ever are able to go in the basement, if you go down there, there's still remnants of the old house. There's a lot of stuff still there from the fire. The ash, there's even like children's shoes. It's
wild.
It is. And it was my last place I did an Estes method.
Okay.
I didn't get too much at that time, but there was another time where I investigated that place. It's like my family's involved too. Like they investigate with us. So we all do it as a group thing. Like it's just everybody's interested in this stuff.
Hell yeah.
And we had investigated at the time with Rock City Project Paranormal. They're a group here in Rochester, New York, who investigate all these different locations. We're close friends with them, and we've done multiple investigations with them. We went to this location, and we're in the basement, and they had this thing called the portal. What it is it's basically like the SB7 spirit box, but instead of going through analog radio stations, it's going through like digital via the internet. It's scanning through those, doing the same thing through frequencies as fast as possible.
Interesting.
And they had this portal, and I actually did a live on it. It's on my personal Facebook page, and you can distinctively hear a man with a very dark, deep, gravelly voice say, "Don't say anything," while there's children voices in the background. And it really just clicked. Think about that for a minute.
Yuck. Ugh.
Yeah. Just given the history of the place.
Right.
Of it burning down. The husband and the father was deemed as the suspect behind it.
Right.
But never was actually charged. Nothing was ever held against him. But this is the kind of evidence we got. And that's the kind of stuff that I look for. Do we see things that coincide with questions being asked, and does it coincide with what actually historically and factually happened in that location?
Right. That's...
When you're there in person, it's even more crazy.
Oh, I bet.
You're like witnessing this in real time. Like, this can't be real, but it is.
Right.
It's happening.
It's like literally happening right in front of you.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck?
If I can find that live stream and record it and take that snippet, I want to play it on the show to show you.
That'd be dope. Hell yeah.
It is one of the most memorable moments I've ever had investigating any location. That in its entirety was worth it. I mean, I don't remember too much of the other part of that night, but I do remember that. I do remember that, and I'll never forget that.
I'm sure.
You know, those are the kind of investigations where I can't forget them. They're just set in
Burned in
stone.
there, yeah.
Yes, they're just
get you.
ingrained in your head, and it was so worth it. You know, you could investigate for hours, and there could only be like maybe a few seconds of something that you're always going to remember.
Right.
That was it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I've never done any of those. So I'm super interested in that kind of stuff.
Have you ever had anything weird? So obviously that's like seeking it out.
Right.
This is something you go there for, you seek it out. Have you ever had something really out of just, and I know you've already discussed some of it, but like, I mean, just out of nowhere, you're by yourself, whatever the case may be, something just paranormal happens and you just witness this.
I always know when someone's around me.
Yeah.
I've felt when my dad's been around. I've seen people. I don't, but it's weird. I can understand who they are based on their energy,
Yeah.
and how they feel. Like this goes back to like what I was saying, in the beginning of, how I answered the first question, because like I said, like I'm familiar with people based on how I feel around them. You know what I mean? And that's not just like a literal like how I feel, like it's vibrations, it's energy, and I'm a big believer in that. That's why like I'm really big about like don't touch me, because like you mess up my whole everything, because like I'm very like susceptible to this stuff. And I remember I was living in East Rochester, and I was sitting I had like a little recording studio set up in our upstairs hallway, and this is the same house that the thing happened on the porch. But I remember it felt like a little girl was running back and forth across the hallway, and I could feel it. I felt it, like you could, like when you get the goosebumps, like I could feel it moving around me. And I can't remember who came up that night, but they just saw it in my face. That like, and not that I wasn't like, I was like calm, I was fine, like in general, but like they knew that like I wasn't on edge, but like I was aware. I was like really aware at that moment, like, and like I was like really,
Yeah.
And they're like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "There's someone in here," and I'm like, "I'm pretty sure it's a little girl." I couldn't tell who it was, but it was just I could tell, And then I think that happened again at another time. But yeah, like there was a couple of times in that house. I saw, like, I felt a lot of things there. And then ironically enough, now I live in a house that was built in 1862 or 1860, something like that. And I haven't had anything happen in this house at all, which is kind of wild. I figured if anywhere I would, it would be here. But no, aside from that, like I don't know. Like there's not really a whole like lot of like specific moments that I would say that would like nothing's ever like fallen off the couch or off the table or whatever. Like nothing's ever happened like that. But I've definitely been around energy, and I'm a big believer that energy doesn't just go away. It's like the whole like energy can't be created or destroyed. Like when we die, like we go somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you believe that time is not linear, and the multiversal theories, that we could be living in separate points in our lives altogether. Like you could be 80 right now, really, but I'm here, but because time isn't linear, we're still living the same time and the same timeline. You know what I mean? Like there's so many crazy theories about all this stuff.
And we will dive into just about all of them at some point.
And that's why residual energies exist.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. So I used to work security like 10 years ago.
Yep.
And I was touring. We called them tours when you go through the building, check all the doors, make sure everything's in order and secure. And I worked in a building. Do you remember the case of Kaylee Polton?
Sounds familiar.
She was a little girl who was kidnapped in, I believe it was East Rochester. So she was riding her bike in the apartment complex where her and her mother lived. And there was a guy who lived near them, like a neighbor. And from what I understand, he called her over, and basically he heard the mother call for her because I guess it was like dinner time.
Got you.
He ended up strangling this little girl to death. He worked as a security guard at the time in a building on Humboldt Street
Okay.
in Rochester. And what ended up happening was he took her there. He took her in the boiler room and put her in one of the vats, like one of the tanks, the water tanks. And that's where he stored her body. That's where he hid her body. So over the years, you know, actually, it wasn't even over the years. It was a few months. I think it was like 6 to 9 months. He had confessed during an argument from this, and I don't know. This is what I've heard over the years of this whole incident. What happened was, I guess he confessed to the girlfriend that he had at the time, like during an argument. Like, I've killed somebody. Ended up getting, arrested or whatever. He ended up showing or telling them where her body was. They went in there. They found whatever was left of her.
That's gross.
So this building obviously had some darkness to it. It's still around. I'm not going to mention who works there, or what company's there anymore.
Right.
Or anything like that. But what I will say is going into that building, it was different. And I wasn't the only one that noticed it. It was a lot of other security officers at the time, because I was also working security there. People would hear doors close. And you would know, like, it was night shift. It was during the nighttime. Once in a while, you would know somebody's there, and you would know there was an employee there because you would already been told that.
Right.
But other nights, though, that you knew that nobody was there, you'd still, like, hear chatter in the corporate office areas.
Interesting.
Which somebody would always tell me, no, that's just radios going. I'm like, no, there's nothing like that going on.
Right.
Like, I would relieve one of the guards in the lobby, and as I'm sitting there by myself, I'm hearing, like, whispering. I couldn't even understand what they were saying. It was like inaudible. All you'd hear was like, it was a woman and a man's voice. Yeah. Very, very bizarre.
Right.
But the worst part I've ever had in that building. So I don't know why, but there's like multiple buildings. This was the one building that they decided we're going to turn off most of the lights and only have like ambient lighting.
Okay.
Like, this is the building you choose to do this with. This is the one with bad history. Please tell me why.
Right. This is what all of the horror movies ever have told me. Anything is to not do this.
Yeah.
This is what not to do.
So one night I go in there. I'm on the phone with my security supervisor who was off, but like, who would keep in contact because I was like the other security supervisor who went on duty when he wasn't there.
Right.
We're on the phone, and I had just gotten through the cafeteria part of it, and I'm like beginning / midway through my tour of this building. You had to tour it like 2 to 3 times a night. This is my first time throughout the night. So I get through the double doors. So basically what you see is like the double doors. There's 2 circular windows on each door. There's 1 circular window on each door. So there's 2 of them in total. And there's like a little gap in between the door.
Right.
So I get through the door. I'm in the kitchen part of it now. And it's pitch black in this kitchen. And I'm reaching in my duty belt. I turn around and I pull my flashlight out. And as soon as I do that, I turn towards the door, and I'm noticing that there's something blocking the ambient lighting from the cafeteria in the middle of the door. It's just pitch black, like as if somebody was standing there. And I'm like on the phone with Mike, the supervisor, and I go, hold on a second. Shh. And I'm trying, and this happened in like 2 seconds, like 3 seconds, if that. As I'm trying to adjust my eyes and register what I'm seeing, this darkness starts. You know how a toddler runs? Like they kind of have a gallop to them. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what this looked like. But it wasn't the size of a toddler; it was the size of like an adult, and it was galloping. And it whatever it was, I saw it through the left-hand circular window of the double door, and he's sitting there saying, What's going on?" And I just bolt through the door. I turn left. I run to the point where there's this hallway, and it's a long hallway. It's a hallway that there's no way in possible hell anybody could run fast enough so I wouldn't be able to see them. I turn and there's nothing there. And I'm thinking to myself, did I just witness something paranormal in this building? Like, I'm supposed to be thinking rationally, like there's somebody in the building.
Right.
But there's nobody there. But there was no sound to it.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah, it was visual.
Right.
That's it. So I go to the lobby, and I ask the guard on duty. I said, and he's since passed on, so just rest in peace, George. I asked him, I said, George, is there anybody in the building? And he said no. And he hated this stuff. He didn't like anything.
No,
We always talked about like hearing the doors closing, and he would always say something. And I told him, I said, you're not going to like what I have to say right now. And he said, oh, boy. I go, he's an older gentleman, so it's like, I go, George, I saw something or somebody in the cafeteria, and I can't explain what I saw, but when I ran after this whatever I saw, it disappeared because by the time I got to the hallway, it was gone. They were just completely gone. Yeah, he wasn't happy about it.
I'm sure.
You could tell he was like, I sketched him out for the rest of the night. But it's moments like that, dude, that it makes me wonder, like, who else sees things like that but doesn't really put two and two together? Because for someone like me, I'm just like...
We're looking for it.
Yeah.
Or at least open to it.
We're open to it. But I remember specifically, like, that moment in time, like, my brain's thinking to myself, am I really
rationalize,
seeing this?
right? Like rationalize.
Yeah.
But like maybe don't.
Right.
Maybe don't. Maybe that's not the answer here.
It was the point where I was trying to register what I was looking at that it started moving. So it like completely broke what I was trying to process.
Right.
So I had to think logically, like, okay, then maybe somebody's there, But
you're also there to do a job.
That's what I mean.
You know what I mean? It's like, of course, your instinct's gonna take over. Like, this is what I do. Like,
yeah. So I've run after this thing and it's gone.
all right.
But I tried to explain this to the one supervisor that was there. She was like, I walked through the cafeteria. I tried telling her, she was into this stuff too. So,
Right.
I was just like, I know I'm not supposed to think that way doing this job, but,
It's hard not to when you see shit like that.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah. There's even stories where I've heard police officers witness something paranormal. Mm-hmm. And I'm always interested in that stuff.
Right.
Because they're supposed to think reasonably and logically too.
Right.
But, it really makes you wonder how many other people experience something like that, but they're not open to it.
Right. Or how many people experience it and don't notice it.
Right.
Or don't even see it.
Don't even see it.
You know what I mean? And it's right there. All you got to do is, pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say all the time, I mean, like, life's happening all around us, and that's not limited to just the living,
Right.
That's like I said, time is not linear.
It's not.
The residual energies and all kinds of shit, man. We don't even know.
No. Yeah, there's so many different things out there that we look at, and maybe we question it, maybe we don't. Maybe we hear something that other people aren't hearing.
Right.
It's like this whole... I saw something online. If somebody is investigating a building and there's two people that have like a video and audio recorder and only one person records the activity or incident, but the other person doesn't, what's that say? And I'm like thinking to myself, well, maybe it was a message just for them.
Right.
Maybe it was only meant for that person to see or listen to. But it does beg the question, how does that happen? If it does. I've never had that happen, quite honestly, to be able to say that I could attest to that.
Right. But it has happened, I'm sure.
I'm sure there has been. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many different things of equipment you can use. I mean, the audio recorders are probably one of the best things you can use. And I admit I should probably use them more than I already do. I don't use them as often as I probably should.
Right.
So I'm going to start probably doing that a little bit more in the future investigations that we do. But, we used to leave, I know this sounds strange, but we used to leave cameras on. I used to leave like video cameras hooked up and on and rolling in my parents' house when I still lived there. We would go out to like eat for like a few hours, and then we come back and actually like watch it back. And we would spend the whole 3 hours or whatever it was just watching it and listening. And there's a few instances that I can remember, and I'll have to go back and see if I still have the footage. I'm sure I do. It's on one of my external hard drives. But there's one specific moment where we can hear a chair move. The camera wasn't on the chair, but you can hear it move. And we had like left like, I don't know if it was like a half hour after we left or whatever, but you can hear it move.
Interesting.
And just thinking about that, dude, it's just nuts. How do you explain that?
Who knows?
Showed it to somebody, and you know what their explanation was? Earthquake. I'm sorry, dude. But
and just one chair happened.
yeah, it just was the one creak. Like the that's what you heard was yep, that was an earthquake. That was the earthquake.
But nothing else shook.
No.
Or
Nope. Yeah, that was an
It's
earthquake.
definitely hard enough to move a chair, but not knock over a picture or anything.
Look, I get it. People are not open to a lot of this. And I want to change people's minds. I think that we can definitely change some minds when we come to the forefront with some evidence.
Yeah.
And bring forth some at least good thinking, some good at least rationalization.
Some good arguments.
Yes. With that specific position of that video where the chair moves, granted you can't see it. But for somebody to think that's an earthquake, why? What brought that to your...
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what brought that to your mind?
I couldn't even answer that. Like, that's not the first thing I would have even thought of.
No.
Not even close.
No. And I still have it. I know I do. But I'll never forget actually listening to that for the first time, like watching it for the first time and going, wait a minute. Is that a chair? And then replicating it in real time, like going to the kitchen because we were watching it in the living room. It was the chair. I actually can pinpoint which chair it was, too.
Interesting.
But I've been so interested in it that I am willing. My goal is to catch something visually.
All right.
I want something visually.
That'd be dope.
Like, audio's cool.
Hell yeah.
And it gives you the chills.
Right.
But if you see it with your eyes and you can witness that on the camera.
That's an irrefutable at that point.
If I could have had Ray-Ban Metas at the time in 2016 when I saw that shadow figure run through the door, I could have just hit record, dude.
Right.
And you could have seen it.
Right. Everybody could have. It would have been on the internet.
Like,
live stream that shit.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can listen, you can hear me talk about it, but it doesn't do what it was justice.
Right.
Like, witnessing that in real time and seeing it for myself.
Right. Isn't the same as having it here to show you.
Yes. And I can't explain it, but when you see something that you have to, like, look at it and go, what? Like, your brain does, I don't know, it's a weird feeling that you feel in your head. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, yes, you're trying to process it. You're trying to register what you're looking at. But there's a feeling that goes along with it that I can't describe to anybody.
Right.
But I could feel something in my head, like when I see something weird that's not supposed to be. And there's only a few times where I felt it. That was one. The other times were the shadow figures running through the hallway in my grandparents' / parents' house, and the guy with the blue jacket. And there was another time where we were walking down this neighborhood in the town of Webster, a buddy of mine and I had saw what I think it was a person, and then they walked away, and then it just looked and they were gone. Like that was, but it wasn't like it was just a quick thing, and I'm just like whatever. I think I may have even mentioned it to him at the time, but I'm like whatever. It wasn't like a substantial thing, but it was like it still was odd.
Right.
Like who's standing out there in the middle of like 2 a.m? Because we at least like do like walks at night like that. But
right. Shit, I used to do that when back like out of high school and shit too.
Yeah.
Something about the quiet of the night.
Yeah.
The dark, especially right after it rains.
Is there any locations that speak to you? And by that, what I mean by that is there anything that's caught your eye then you think to yourself like, I wonder what's in that building?
You know what one I've always been curious about is Valentine out in Victor.
I pass by that periodically. Didn't Ghost Hunters? I think Taps went there, right?
One of them did. It was on a show.
I think it was Ghost Hunters.
They do pretty regular stuff there. But I've always been interested in that because like I went to school out that way. I mean I used to live out in Canandaigua. Like I used to go by there all the time. I mean obviously like if I go to the mall I go to Eastview, so like it is right there.
It is.
Know? So
especially if you go towards Macedon or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're going from Victor to
Yep.
You pass it.
Yep.
You have to
go right by it.
Yeah. That is an interesting building. It's old.
Old as
It's got some
shit.
history, and I love that.
And it's local.
And it's local. It's not far from here.
Right. We could easily do something like that.
You know, if we can get in touch with people that own it and we can do an investigation and allow it, that'd be cool. One I know that we probably will never be able to do for many reasons. One being it's a safety hazard at this point, but it's caught my eye for the last 16, 15 years is Terrence Tower.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, off of Elmwood and South Avenue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that place, it's foreboding. I've taken photos of it, like photography-wise, because I'm a photographer and I do that stuff. I love architecture. I love landscape. I love old farms. I love everything that's like. I love all the oddities.
You don't say.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this.
No.
But dude, that's old psych ward that's been abandoned since 1994. Just all the things I've researched about this place. I know people that have gone in there. I've watched YouTube videos of people going in there. I would love to go in there, but do I think it's a good idea?
Probably not.
Probably not. With all the asbestos and all that stuff that's in that building and all the other contaminants, I don't know if it's the smartest idea to go in there. I think maybe if you go in there, first of all, they don't want you going in there, right? Let's be honest.
Right.
There's a reason why it's all sealed up for the most part. Is there ways to get in? Obviously, people find that. There's graffiti all over the front of it right now. So they've obviously been in there.
Yeah, well, people will always find a way.
But the stuff I've read about this, there's a couple different incidents about this building that I've, obviously there's speculation. There's lobotomies that happen in this place, electroshock therapy.
Oh, so it sounds like a place I need to go.
Jesus Christ. Nah, dude, like this place has caught my eye and I've been just, I've always thought about it.
That sounds
what was
crazy.
yeah.
That sounds crazy.
I've
sounds like something out of a movie, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's like the premise of a movie type
And
of
it's not a small building. It's like 15 stories high with that big electric generator up there.
Sheesh.
It's a huge building. It's not like it's a small little place.
Right.
And it's literally like when you drive down 390 and you turn that like one corner towards Corning, you see it in the skyline.
Oh, okay.
It's if you go to the Lilac Festival, you can actually park there.
I know right where you're talking.
So there's a couple of things that I've read about this place. Obviously those two things I just mentioned. There was a person who, and I don't know, this is an article I read. So I guess this happened back in like 92 or something like that, where a guy had broken out of this place and he somehow ended up in New York City.
Oh.
And ended up on a subway train and stabbed a woman to death.
Oh. Pleasant. Sounds like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like a real rad dude.
And then there was other cases of where people were jumping. I don't know if there was a person or multiple people jumping out of the windows and stuff. I mean, it's a high enough building, obviously.
Right.
But
Sheesh.
there's just a lot of stories that I've read and heard about this place that I'm just like, what's being harbored inside those walls?
Right.
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 Is there any activity that happens in that building?
I'm sure. If there's anywhere there is going to be, it's a place like that.
I looked up all kinds of different videos and photos of this place inside and out. There's something that was spray painted on a wall in that building I saw a photo of. And it stuck with me ever since. Now, I saw this probably like 10 years ago,
Okay.
if not more. And it stuck with me ever since. And the saying that was spray painted on the wall in this former psychiatric hospital is sentiment without action is the ruin of the soul. That has stuck with me ever since. It has not left my head. It is something I wholeheartedly actually have thought about, and it makes the most sense. If you have the words that you can speak, then you better be able to back those words up with every ounce of action you can possibly give.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you compromise your integrity of who you are and what you're all about. That's 100% what I'm about. And that saying has always stuck with me. And I know it could have been anybody in there that went in there and spray painted that, but whoever did it had I don't know if they got it from a book. I don't know if they got it from anywhere else or if they came up with this on their own, but whatever
Right.
inspired that person to do that, it made sense. And if I ever find the person or they find us and they explain why they did that, that'd be a great story to be able to hear. But it's not left my head at all. And it's something that I utilized that saying when I created one of my dark arts. I have it right here. It's something I utilized on one of the graphic tees I made on the back. Because I believe in it wholeheartedly. And I honestly think that, you know, if you live by that, if you think about it and you live by that, you can at least say that you can keep to your word. You know, I would say that a man is born with two things in life, his name and his word. And that's wholeheartedly what I think that saying is telling you. It's it might have a deeper meaning, it might not, who knows, but I definitely have, it's definitely stuck with me.
You pondered a thought or two about it, I see.
So yeah, I don't know, man. That building in itself is foreboding, it's ominous. And if I ever were to go in there, and I know people that have gone there, I'm not going to mention who they are, obviously. Right. But if I were to ever go in there, I'd obviously have masks and all that stuff.
Right, you'd at least need that.
I don't think I would go. There's a lot of people on the urbexing community that say if you go up on the top of the roof, it's like one of the best sights you could ever see in the city, because you can see like the skyline of Rochester and all that, and it's just it's an immaculate sight to see.
I believe it.
But I don't think I would want to risk my life to do that.
No. I can find a picture.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll find a picture. It's okay. I don't like that city that much.
There's a couple of videos from like years before where I could see like people climb. There's a ladder that goes to the rooftop and you can climb it. But like most recent videos, that ladder's gone, dude.
No.
And people are still going up on that roof.
Probably for good reason.
Yeah. Well, they're still going up there anyways.
All right.
And I'm good with heights. Like I don't want.
Dude, I can't do heights.
Nope.
I get vertigo.
Yeah. No, thank you.
I stay on the floor. Thank you.
Yeah. I stay on the ground, man.
Yep.
But yeah, that building, dude. Oh. There's one other building that actually made it reached out to me, but I might just save that for another story.
Okay.
I think I'm not gonna use all of my experiences on this episode.
we got plenty more to go.
Oh, there's so much to talk about.
I mean, I know we got plenty of episodes to come.
Yeah, but before we sign off, man, what do you got? What do you got in your mind right now? What do you want to say?
I don't know. I'm excited for this journey, man. I know this has been something that's been a long time in the works for us, so
yes, I'm
excited to get into all the freaky, scary, paranormal, whatever shit. I mean, as a man who performs in a band wearing a mask,
hey,
and has been called a bona fide insane person for the way that I perform. Yeah, I'm all about it. I'm stoked, and I want to hear stories from people. I want to get people involved. I want to go places. Let's make this happen, man. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a fun ride, and we got a lot of things that we're like I said, we're only scratching the surface of the surface here. Like, we got so many things coming. So
yeah,
I'm stoked.
There's so many things that we're gonna dive into, and I want to just, like you said, get people involved. I want to hear their stories.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, dude, because there's so many people out there that are.
I want to hear real shit.
Yeah. And I want to hear like people that just wholeheartedly, hold on to these experiences. Like, they can never forget them, and I want them to be able to voice them here and tell their story.
Right.
Just like we're able to tell our stories of what we've experienced. And I think it's important. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to talk about this stuff because they're not sure who and what is going to happen. Like, they're not sure if they should tell anybody because they're not sure how anyone's going to take it, how they're going to view them.
Yep.
Oh, you're nuts. You're crazy. That's not always the case, though.
We're all a little crazy. What do you mean?
I mean, let's be honest. Some of us are, and I know I am in a little way. Like, everybody is, dude. But at the end of the day, though, I think, and I wholeheartedly believe that people do experience the things that they tell you about.
Yeah.
And here's my one suggestion: if you have a child out there and they say that they see something and hear something that they probably it sounds a little crazy,
Believe them.
100%.
Believe them.
Yeah, because I was told as a kid, oh, it was just your imagination.
No. Believe them.
There was a headless dude in the bathroom. Oh, it's your imagination. Like what? I saw it. I witnessed it. It's not. I didn't imagine this.
Right. No.
What kid imagines a headless dude with?
Believe them.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I just, when you look at things like that, and I know they say children are more susceptible to these occurrences and to spirits and to the other realm and whatnot, but honestly, just from my own experience, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, but yeah, it'll never leave my head, my first experience with something that's unexplainable and supernatural,
right?
And I seek it because I want to be able to prove it. Mm-hmm. If I can get visual evidence on a camera to show somebody, hey, this is real,
right? And
this is not added in.
No BS, no nothing.
This is it. Like, this is 100% factual. And in the world of today where people have AI and all that stuff, it's going to be a little bit harder to dispute that, unfortunately, because people will think it's AI. Whereas before we didn't have AI.
Right.
So you couldn't say
it's going to be a little more of an uphill battle, but
correct.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, I mean, there's ways to check for AI and stuff. So I mean, all it takes is somebody running it through there and being like, no, this is legit.
Yeah. And that's what I want to do. I want to get legitimate evidence to be able to document it and showcase it to the world.
I have no reason to fake anything. You know what I mean? We're all about the truth. We're all about what really happened and what really, what's really happening.
Yeah.
Not just in the past, but in the future, in the now. Like I said, it's like the fourth time, but like time is not linear, man. There's so many things that we don't know.
The one thing I will say with the way our world is right now in society, there is a lack of authenticity, unfortunately. A lot of disingenuous people doing things for money and cash flow, and they're going to put out whatever they want. But the one thing you're going to get with us is authenticity. You're not going to get anything just because we're out here trying to get money, because we don't get any money off this.
No, we do not.
And we don't care if we do or not.
We're just having fun, man. We just want to have fun with y'all.
Yeah, we want to be able to dig deep into this stuff, get the reality and the truth and the evidence that we can possibly get, and have a conversation about it. And the best way to do it is through this. So, if you like and hear what you like, and you enjoy the paranormal and the supernatural and all that good stuff, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell. And, again, we're going to keep doing this. Just email us, the mbalmeffect@gmail.com. We might make a Strange Saloon only email. I think that might make sense.
Probably will. Yeah. We're just gonna keep bombarding you with videos until you eventually follow us. So enjoy my face.
Yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. I'm excited about this, man.
I'm so stoked.
I maybe it is a little bit of but again, like, I'm always into it though. Just the aspect of working on multiple projects, but I'm passionate about this stuff.
Me too. This is fun for me too, because this is a whole different realm for me completely. Because me, I've been a musician that's been my whole artistic side. Up till now. I mean, outside of what I've done on my own, but nobody's ever gonna see that stuff. So this is my first like diving into it experience. So I'm stoked, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. For everybody out there, just if you want, send us your experiences, evidence. If you got photos that you've taken and you see something crazy in there or weird, or maybe you thought you've captured a spirit, send them our way. We want to talk about it. EVPs, videos, or even just your experiences in life in general with this stuff, because there's multiple people out there, again, that have different experiences.
Yeah, we want to hear all of them.
Yeah, we're all about it.
As many as you're willing to share.
So get your voice heard, and we will discuss what we believe is happening in your case. But, if you like conspiracy theories, you like weird anomalies in this world, you like the paranormal, this is going to be your podcast. And it's going to be legit. It's going to be a back and forth conversation. And we hope you join us on this crazy ride.
We're going to learn some stuff.
We're going to learn.
We're going to question some stuff.
We're going to put things to the test. We're going to pressure test them.
We're going to break stuff with hammers.
We might.
No, we're gonna.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm just saying stuff now.
are we building something, or are we demolition? Or demolishing?
I don't know. Whatever. We could do whatever we
Yeah.
want. This is our show.
This is our show.
Fuck it.
Doing live. Well, we're not doing live, but
Why not?
Doing
Maybe
it.
we'll break stuff with hammers live. That'll be
that'll be
a
the
fun
stream.
episode.
yeah, we'll be breaking down.
We'll have all kinds of fun specials coming your way. And I guarantee it'll be more entertaining than the WWE.
Damn.
Oh,
you know.
shit.
Yeah, I just I'm excited for this whole podcast. It's a different pace for me. It's a different. I mean, we've talked about stuff like this on the other show, but this is going to be based on this stuff only, and that's what's
Exclusive,
exciting.
Right.
It's exclusive to the Strange Saloon.
Right.
So, you know, we hope to have you on the next episode, and we will probably find something to really dive into. I'm interested in parallel universes too, and all that. So I
The
definitely
multiverse, all of that. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be another episode.
yeah, I can't wait for that one.
We're gonna start writing some stuff down.
We
All
are.
right, let's save it for next time.
Yes. So this is Strange Saloon. I'm M-Balm,
Zero.
and we will be back with you soon. Drink responsibly, and have a good night, folks.